Ran across an idea the other day that kind of sparked some thinking. And it was the idea that when we undertake a life that we might describe as spiritual in orientation, we must make certain that the path we're choosing is connected to our hearts. It's a good idea to do that. Is this path of spiritual inquiry I'm on connected to my heart? Many other visions of the spiritual journey are offered to us in the modern spiritual marketplace. Great spiritual traditions offer stories of enlightenment and bliss and knowledge and divine ecstasy and the highest possibilities of the human spirit. And let us remember, though, in the end, spiritual life is not a process of seeking or gaining some extraordinary condition or any kind of special power. In fact, such seeking can take us away from ourselves. If we are not careful, we can easily find the great failures of our modern society with its commitment to ambition and materialism and individualism repeated in our spiritual life. There are so many examples of that out there if you stop and think about it for a moment. When we look at our current path, it's helpful to look at the values we have chosen to live by. Where do we invest our time, our strength, our creativity, our material support, our love? Do our life choices authentically reflect what we say we most deeply value? Very helpful inquiry. Have we learned to live through the changes of life with grace, wisdom, compassion? Have we learned to forgive and live from the spirit of the heart instead of the spirit of judgment? Letting go and moving through life from one change to another brings the maturing of our spiritual being. In the end, we discover that to love and to let go can be the same thing. Neither way seeks to possess. Both allow us to touch each moment of this changing life, the longing for love and the movement of love is the energy motivating all of our activities. The happiness we discover in life is not about possessing or owning or even understanding. Instead, it is the discovery of this capacity to love, to have a loving, free, and spiritually informed relationship with every moment of our lives. Such love is not possessive, but arises out of a sense of our own well-being and connection with everything. Therefore, it is generous, it is wakeful, and it loves the freedom of all beings, including their freedom to operate their lives free of the dictates of unenlightened demands and expectations. Out of love, our path can lead us to learn to use our gifts of creativity to heal and to serve, to support and to nurture, to allow peace and harmony, to surround our choices, remembering that everything we encounter along life's way is another invitation from Father, Mother, God to celebrate, to serve, or as Emerald would say, take our spiritual maturity up a notch. That's the way it's going out there. Don't miss the chance. On this Valentine Day Sunday, let's take a look at this mystical phenomena known as love and see if it has a role to play in remaining faithful to the body of teachings that Jesus invited us to keep with impeccable fidelity. Consider these scriptural references expressing Jesus on love. From John 13:35, by this shall men know that you are my disciples, if you have love to one another. By that, they'll know you. In John 15:12, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. It's the only commandment he ever left us with, that you love one another. In John 15:13, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Love, love, love. In all of its many, many wonderful, splendid ways. If you want to be known, and the operative word there is known, as a disciple of Jesus in the most infallible way, then you've just signed on to keeping your heart open to everyone you encounter on the road of life. That's the decision. If you say, have you accepted Jesus into your life? And what is the implication of that? To learn that sacred art of keeping your heart and mind open to every being you encounter on the road of life. Like in the meditation, it came to me to suggest that, yeah, that's what we're here for. Here for just to say yes to everything that comes down the road of our lives, to recognize them as children of God, all of them here with us in this school of life and sharing with us what seems to be true and necessary for them in a moment. The all-purpose characterization. If we remember that about all beings as we encounter them, we'll have no problem in being known as a disciple. But that's where the spiritual cheese can get kind of binding, you might have noticed. Is it enough just to love in any old kind of way? Are you necessarily responding to the Jesus call by expressing your love the same way your family has for as long as you can remember? Can you be sure you are responding faithfully to his invitation to love by modeling the loving example your secular culture embraces, or the model of love promoted by your religious community even? Not necessarily. The hooker there is John 15:12. Remember, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. And that brings a new twist to the game. Jesus brought a whole new game into town, and it's called unconditional love. He looked them in their big brown eyes, and he challenged them to acknowledge that it has never been remotely effective, much less spiritually informed, to seek the resolution of injury in the bankrupt futility of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The new wine of love he invited us to taste was based on an immaculate practice of a brand new way of being with each other, the Tao of service and the Tao of forgiveness. Catching on to what it means to love each other as he loved us calls us out to explore the grace of setting aside self-interest for a heartbeat and investing our energies in a nobler instinct, being there for each other in ways that find us stepping outside our critiques and our complaints and investing our creative energies in episodes of the kind of loving service Jesus referred to as laying down our lives for a friend. And there are many ways to accommodate that model of loving kindness. When Jesus invited us to experience the grace of laying down our lives for a friend, he was speaking metaphorically and not suggesting that to keep the commandment, you'd have to find a battlefield someplace where you could flop on a grenade and save a friend's life. He was simply suggesting that you dedicate some of the time allotment we've each been given this time through and use it to elevate the life experience of someone who really could use a kind word and a helping heart. Whenever the inspiration strikes, let it happen. Let your love manifest in whatever way seems appropriate in the moment, for sure. It's only in the mysterious equations of love that we can understand all of this. So your love is indeed, your love is indeed an inspiring example of love's mysterious equations. And now just let me ask you, will you be my Valentine? Thank you, beautiful ones. Thank you. Okie dokie.